Hey guys, what's up? It's Omrecker, and this is some Titanfall footage. The new, well, not even new, it's an upcoming release still, it's not even out yet. But it's upcoming FPS release by the guys at Respawn. They're the ones who formed after all the Infinity Ward drama came about when the founders of Infinity Ward, who had previously left EA to go team up and make a studio to work with Activision, they left to go back and work with EA once again. And Titanfall is the result of that relationship, and it is, you know, it's an FPS, as you can see here, but it's a little bit different than most of the other FPS games out there. You can see that I'm doing all these parkour type tricks, and you saw the little guy over there with the jetpack. It definitely a, you know, different kind of FPS experience in comparison to games like Call of Duty and Battlefield. Now, I will get into, you know, my thoughts on if this could be a potential, like, Call of Duty killer. I know everyone wants to know what's going to dethrone Call of Duty. I'll get into that in a bit, but, you know, first let's just talk a little bit about the gameplay. And as mentioned, once again, you can see here that, you know, the infantry experience is it's all about mobility. You can run off of walls, you can double jump thanks to a little jetpack that you've got that it really doesn't have a whole lot of fuel, but it will help you get up to, you know, rooftops, stuff like that. And, you know, even wall running and jumping from wall to wall, I mean, there's, you know, just total, like, freedom of movement in this game in comparison to the other games. But then there's also these giant, stompy robots, and in my opinion, this is kind of like, you know, this is how the Hawken robots should have felt. I never really got adjusted to, you know, or properly adjusted to the robots, or mechs, or whatever they call them in Hawken. But in this game, they feel much better. Once you're in the cockpit, it almost feels like an extension of the infantry experience. I mean, obviously you're more bulky and you're more restricted in movement. You can't go climbing on top of buildings, but you know, it definitely gives you a feel where you're inside this machine that has upgraded firepower. And infantry really, you know, they can't stand a chance against you if you've got, you know, a lock on them and are good at aiming. You know, and the other thing is you could even walk over infantry when you're the robot. You could grab infantry out of other mechs or whatever they're called in this game. They're Titans, actually. They're called Titans. I need to get that into my head. But yeah, I mean, you know, the whole experience is really good. Much like the infantry experience, you know, in this game. And it's probably thanks to the fact that this game uses a source engine, believe it or not. But, you know, just everything about it feels very fluid and responsive, and that's how an FPS should be, in my opinion. I know that, you know, the Battlefield franchise has always gotten some flack for feeling, you know, kind of laggy, or, you know, there being some latency type issues, or at least it feels like there's latency issues. Whereas, you know, in Call of Duty is all about that fluid FPS experience, and this definitely gives you that feel. It definitely has more of a Call of Duty feel than anything else. Or even, I'd be tempted to say, an Unreal Tournament feel for those of you guys that have played the Unreal Tournament games. It's that type of Twitch experience. You got to have really quick reflexes and, you know, be ready to identify your enemy and shoot as quickly as possible, because players do go down very fast in this game, and you know, all it takes is, it feels like a few bullets to knock you out. And if there's a Titan nearby, you know, you're screwed if he sees you and starts firing at you with some good aim. So, you know, visually, I do want to touch on that a little bit too. And keep in mind, this is a beta. Not everything is final, and there's still a lot of stuff to be added, from what I understand. But, you know, the visuals in this game are pretty damn good. I wouldn't say that, you know, it's the best looking FPS to date, but it's definitely up there. I mean, it definitely gives Call of Duty a run for its money, and you know, it's, whoa, sorry, there was somebody talking on the mic there, but you know, even like Battlefield 4, I mean, you know, it's definitely up there along those lines, or that line of visual quality. But you know, there are certainly some FPS games out there that, you know, you could argue look better. But you know, really, at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. This game, for what it does, especially considering it uses a source engine, it looks great. And performance is fantastic on my PC. I can't speak for all builds. Obviously, I have a pretty nice PC rig at home, but you know, for me, it's butter smooth. I mean, this is kind of performance that I expect out of a game like Call of Duty. versus, you know, like Battlefield sometimes can be a little bit choppy at times depending on what's going on. This, I didn't really see any performance dips. Performance was great all around, and I appreciate that they, you know, put the time into optimizing it while also upgrading the visuals. I mean, again, Source Engine, what the hell? Like, who would have thought the Source Engine could look like this? What else do I want to touch on? You know, UI is a little bit, a tad bit confusing at times. You'll see some of the icons there, and also there's always a mini map up in the upper left that will also show you where players are. It has taken a little bit of getting used to. There's some things in the game I don't know how to use at this point. There's like burn cards that you can get that seem to be like one-off power-ups, and I have no idea how to use them. The game will remind me that I have them, but it doesn't tell me how to use them, which is fine. And maybe it was in the tutorial. I didn't really go through all of it. Maybe it's my fault. But, you know, it does take a little bit of getting used to, because there's things that you have to take advantage of. You got your little special infantry power. In this case, you'll see down there's a Q button that in this build that I have, it makes me run faster. There's grenades. There's, you know, your secondary weapon. There's also your anti-Titan launcher for, you know, whatever you pick for that, and then there's also call in a Titan. So that, you know, there's a little bit more to this game than most FPSs, I guess you could say. But once you kind of get used to it, it's you know, kind of becomes second nature. Audio is something else I want to talk about. Audio sounds great in this game so far. I also really appreciate the VO type cues in this game, where you are being reminded how long it is until you get a Titan. Titans are, you know, essentially drops that you get to call in, and you know, the game will remind you how long it is, and it seems like you can affect your timer for how long it'll be until your next drop, based off, you know, getting, or how many kills you get on enemy pilots and also the enemy AI. And also, when you're in a Titan, your suit will talk to you, which is really cool. And occasionally, like, some of the feedback I appreciate the most is if it tells me that, like, I'm encountering unfavorable odds. Like, if I'm going 2 versus 1, or, well, in my case, it'd be 1 versus 2, the suit will tell you when you're at a significant disadvantage. So that's really cool. You know, so it's stuff like that. It's the little details that can make an experience so much better. Let's see, what else did I want to go over here? Oh, AI, you just saw me kill some grunts there. And, you know, the AI, I think they might actually kind of hold back the game a little bit, because when it comes to AI, you know, if Respawn wants this to be the next Call of Duty game, or Call of Duty killer, essentially, I just kind of feel like there's no place for AI in a competitive game. You know, they're more cannon fodder than anything else. Their accuracy is horrible for the most part, and just it doesn't really feel right. You know, for, again, a game that may be wanting to go competitive, it's not right. You know, and I've heard the argument before that, you know, inaccuracy or chance hits, you know, for example, with RTS, I remember the Company of Heroes franchise, people were saying, well, we think that the chance to miss is going to really hurt, you know, the chance of this game becoming competitive. And at the end of the day, it kind of did. And I almost feel like that might be the case with this game and the AI, is that, you know, the AI adds, you know, a variable to the competitive equation of sorts. And, you know, where, I don't know, one team, you know, if they're doing really well, it's camping the AI. I mean, it seems like that drives up your points just as much as killing players, at least in this mode, which is called Infiltration. And I don't know, I feel like it's out of place. You know, kind of feel like it'd be better to have a higher player count, even if it meant restricting the number of Titan spawns that can exist at any one time. Because I'd much rather see a lot of players out there fighting than players and AI. You know, it's just that kind of just feels off to me. But with that said, I am still really having fun despite the player count. I do understand that the maps are a hell of a lot smaller, you know, than I guess what I probably expected them to be, with, you know, big stompy robots. But it doesn't feel bad. Like, it feels like there's a good balance with the size of the robots and the player count and everything like that. It seems like they have at least gotten that right, and I have a feeling that it was mainly based off trying to avoid just tons and tons of Titans. I think that's the main reason for the player count restriction, but only they know. So one other thing I do want to talk about here really quick is the fact that you know, right now in the beta there's a limited number of maps, so it's really hard to tell what to really expect, you know, in terms of map count. I haven't really heard an official count yet. If there's going to be enough variety to keep people playing. Also, there's only a few game modes right now, and while that's fine, I feel like, you know, that right now everyone's playing Infiltration. I can't even get into queues for the other modes. I don't know why. I guess everyone's just playing Infiltration, that's it. But they do have like a Domination mode. They also have a Titan-only mode, I guess, where you don't even spawn as infantry. You're just Titans at all times. I definitely want to check those out, see how those play. And beyond that, another thing that, you know, is something I definitely need to see before I pass final judgment on this game is how many, you know, different weapons there are going to be in the game, because right now it's very limited. You've got you know, a shotgun and a rifle and a sniper rifle and a submachine gun, and I'm trying to think if there's one more. I think there might be, maybe, but you know, then you got a couple sidearms and you got a couple launchers and stuff. And the same goes for Titans, but it feels like there's a lot less variety than in games like Battlefield and Call of Duty. So, you know, I think that it's important to have variety, allow players to, you know, kind of customize, you know, or beyond customizing their weapons and making them unique, just as individual weapons, also having a variety of different weapons. I understand that, you know, the developers have to go and make up these weapons because it's set in the future, but, you know, it's completely fine to borrow from existing weapons and, you know, try to create some extra variety there. I think that's going to be important. Same goes for the Titans. You know, we got to wait and see, you know, what sort of different models there are of the Titans, what sort of different upgrades, because right now even that feels limited. But again, it's beta. I know that the developers kind of holding back. They don't want to spoil everything for everybody, so we'll have to wait and see. So aside from that, you know, the only other major frustration I've had with this game is the matchmaking is at times tough to deal with. I don't know exactly how they manage it, and I haven't been able to tell if there are dedicated servers or not. But matchmaking, I have had some difficulties in connecting with friends, which is kind of disappointing. Kind of reminded me a bit of some of the issues I've had with some Uplay type titles, like the Splinter Cell franchise. You know, trying to connect to your friends and stuff just can be really bad. Versus when you're dealing strictly with servers, you got a browser, you can just pop into a server, no problem. Hey, meet me on, you know, US East 4 or whatever. You can't really do that in this game. You got to connect into a lobby, and they do have, you know, a party system that you got to also try to work with as well. Trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, I think I've covered, or I've touched on most of the points here. But I would love to hear what you guys think. If you want to see more of this, again, it's Titanfall. It's coming out, I think, next month, sometime March 2014. And beta's live right now for friends and family. It's supposed to open up, by the time you see this, it should start opening up a bit, so make sure you guys apply if you want to check it out for yourself. And again, this is on PC, running 1080p, you know, very fluid frame rate I had throughout the entire experience. Actually, Fraps was impacting me negatively more than anything else, because it was, you know, Fraps itself was restricting my FPS. But yeah, I look forward to seeing or to reading your feedback. Be sure to leave me some comments. Let me know what you guys thought. And if you want to see more, I'm definitely open to you know, potentially making more videos on this, or even streaming it down the road. We'll see how this video does views-wise and everything. And otherwise, you know, if it's not a big hit on my YouTube channel, it's potentially a game that I can just stream, because the rounds are really quick. As you can see here, you could be done with a round in, you know, a good 5 minutes or so. So yeah, you know, leave me some feedback, guys. Share this with your friends if you enjoyed it, and that's about it. I will see all of you guys next time.
Out there, man. Keep it up, and this battle will be ours before you know it. Impressive streak.
mode. Eject. 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 Eject.
Pilot, your Titan will be ready in 2 minutes.
Nice moves. Now finish the job.
Hey, your Titan will be ready in 60 seconds. Be advised, Titan ready in 30 seconds. You got it. Stand by for Titanfall.
Transferring control to pilot.
All right, we got what we came for. Awesome work, team. Mission accomplished.
Beat the IMC. The battle's not over. Intercept any stragglers before they get away.
Auto-type engaging enemy sight.
The IMC are trying to escape by dropship. I've marked their evac point for you. Take them out before they... The enemy dropship has arrived. Destroy it before they get away.